Rob J gave me an incredibly generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon and brings you today's video. Hashaton Scarab's Fist versus Massacre Girl, Illuna, and however you pronounce that. 2-lander, we can fix our colours. We don't have any means of discard, so it's not the best, but I don't think it's so bad that we have to get rid of it, so I'll keep. We do draw on turn 1, thankfully, and there's some card draw in Charter Course. So let's get some black mana we'll need, because the Talisman will give us blue. And Scalding Tarn we will keep on top. I have asked for a bracket 4 game, by the way, because my Hashaton deck is bracket 4 according to Moxfield. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Mystic Remora on turn 1 during this high-powered game. We know what we're drawing into in the Scalding Tarn. I'll just go for a Ganjo here, just in case we want to get down a tap land next turn. Play the Talisman and hold up our Swords to Plowshares. Draw our opponent his first card with the Remora. Decided to give up on Mystic Remora. It drew him 1 card during that turn cycle. And plays Invisible Stalker instead of getting down his commander. We see a turn 2 Charcoal Diamond for the black player. Another land I don't mind seeing, and that is Spymaster's Vault, so we've got a means of conniving with that, which is going to be discard for us. So that means we can go for our commander at some point into Charter Course and discard Massacre Worm. Not sure how useful that's going to be. Maybe it just buys the other 2 players more time, but yeah, let's go for the Gleaming Overseer. Going to take a Pain mana in order to do that, because I do want to get out Scalding Tarn as a tap land. Sapphire Medallion for the blue player means he can get down a turn 1 commander. So speed 1 goes up to speed 2 straight away with his unblockable Invisible Stalker. Illuna continuing to hold onto cards and just do nothing. Probably has a board wipe in hand. A Mind Stone for Massacre Girl. Can now afford to get down his commander, and we'll start drawing additional cards with a Phyrexian Arena. With our Undercity Sewers, we can look at the top card. That is an Ancient Tomb. I imagine we're going to have to replay our commander a few times, so that means that we can play it and pay for a cost on something. The cost of the ability, that is. I'll keep it on top. It's not the flashiest draw, but hopefully we'll be able to start looking at new stuff with the Spymaster's Vault. So do we just go for our commander here and see if we can have it last a turn cycle? I'll get down the vault and we'll try our commander and see what happens to it. Dissipation Field bounces permanents when they deal damage. This is only draw a card, not discard. Alright, so Makokoro going to have us all draw at some point, I imagine. And Ominous Seas ready to start drawing cards into the commander. They will only reach speed 3 this turn. Noteworthy, with this commander you have 0 power. So if we were to get rid of this with something like the Massacre Worm, then they might struggle to get up to that 4th speed. Anyway, they're hitting us again. A Vault Charge, so down goes our commander as we assumed it would. Not much we can do if we don't have any interaction in our hand. Noteworthy that that is an instant, so we could have held on to that and maybe someone else would have used the interaction on our commander. Maybe we'll see the Massacre Girl here anyway. A Liliana, Dreadhorde General. Hopefully some of the unblockable stuff will start going through over there. Or not, because they're going to minus down instead of tick up, so Liliana clearing out the creatures. This is going to be the interesting thing, because I have no doubt everyone's looking at us because everyone's scared of this commander, but the longer the game goes on, the more the other players will pull ahead, and they'll have to start paying attention to other players. Alright, a Lightning Greaves, so we'll be able to get down our commander with the Lightning Greaves equipped. This is where I'm glad that I took a turn off drawing into the Ancient Tomb. So we'll just hold up the Swords to Plowshares with our hasty Hashaton. I should swing some damage into the right, actually. Take a loyalty off that Liliana. Another utility land, that is Manamo, untaps a legendary permanent. And there's the scary one in the deck, Psychosis Crawler. Only 2 cards in hand at the moment. He hasn't managed to make use of his double card draw. The Teamer player struggling on both colours and mana, but manages to fix his blue mana this turn. Pollywog Symbiote will not be taken out by the Massacre Worm. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less if it has Mutate, so he has focused on the Mutate in this deck seemingly. Liliana ticks up for a 2-2. A Demonic Tutor for the black deck as well, still has 5 mana left after that. Okay, decided on a greed, so he's going to have to pay a lot of mana and life into drawing cards there. Alright, a Bitter Triumph is a means of us destroying the Liliana straight up. What we could do here is go Massacre Worm on this turn, get rid of a couple of creatures, get rid of Liliana, but we're playing into a board wipe at that point. Could just play at instant speed is probably the thing to do, but we're not looking at as many cards then. Yeah, and we're missing a land here, so let's go for Charter Course and we'll just get down Massacre Worm. We have not attacked this turn, so we are going to discard. Draw 2, discard 1. Alright, an Esper Sentinel for more card draw. Discard the Massacre Worm, triggering our commander. Oh, I forgot it comes in tapped actually, that might have changed the way I played this. But we get a chance to get rid of the Psychosis Crawler, so it's probably best to take it. Liliana sees a creature die and draws a card. We'll encourage this to take out Liliana at least. Have our opponents lose some life. Now some creatures died, so we could go for Connive onto our commander. But I think I'd rather get down the Esper Sentinel, to be honest. Even though we might not draw cards to it. Yeah, I quite like the cards in hand, so let's just swing into the right. Like I said, not taking out Liliana here does encourage this thing to take it out, which it probably should. And doing it this way, we did get to draw more cards and get down an Esper Sentinel before we pass the turn over. Greed will draw a card and lose 2 life, going down to 34 over there. 6 cards in hand. And then a Snuff Out. Playing the Snuff Out before the Esper Sentinel goes down, so loses 2 life to Massacre Worm, but wanted to make sure that he keeps his Lily in play. Kiora is draw 2, discard 2. I think that this new Kiora is in this deck. And decided to discard a Frantic Search and a Kozilek, shuffling his graveyard. And he will have 4 counters on the Ominous Seas. Needs 8 on this to make an 8/8 token. Only 1 card in hand at the moment. Can afford to get down his commander again though. So does get down his commander again. It actually costs 3 mana. Forgot about the Sapphire Medallion. So could have Arcane Denial or something like that held up. He did tap down his mana there, so looks like he could do something, but decides not to. Goreclaw, Terror of Kalsisma. Going to make the creatures cost 2 less. I'm just trying to work out, next turn it might be worth going Bitter Triumph to destroy the Goreclaw. Discard to it Karmic Guide, reanimate that, so that's 5 mana. 3, 4, 5, and then we'd still have the mana to put Spymaster's Vault on this so that we can connive and buff it to draw some more cards. Or I suppose we could just hardcast this at that point and hold on to the Bitter Triumph. Because when the Massacre Worm comes in, it's going to kill off the Kiora, which will allow this to be triggered. What do we discard is the question. Another zombie token for Liliana will mean that another creature dies to the worm. Well, speaking of dying, there's Massacre Girl. Suppose it was too hopeful to keep the Esper Sentinel in play. So I have to imagine that everything's going down here. Massacre Girl sees 2 creatures go down before it dies. The Goreclaw is going to die, as is our commander, so looks as though everything apart from Massacre Girl is going to go down here. So I think we are just going to reanimate Massacre Worm with the Karmic Guide and swing in with it with haste, so I'll have to put my commander back in the command zone. Yeah, maybe a better play would have been to leave out the Esper Sentinel, and we could have hoped that a few creatures die before the Massacre Girl takes out our commander, then buff our commander with the Vault. Maybe that would have been a better thing to do. Still got 7 cards in hand over here. Alright, another island for us, so that fixes the blue mana quite nicely. I think we still go reanimating Massacre Worm just because it's a big hitter. So throw down the Karmic Guide and just hold up interaction, I think. So the -2/-2 upon entry doesn't do anything at the moment. We'll put haste on the Karmic Guide. It has pro black, so our opponent can't do anything about it, even if he does have something. Looks as though we're going to finally get rid of Lily. Successfully managed to get rid of the Liliana, so yeah, just going to pass the turn with the interaction held up. We'll keep an eye out for creatures dying. I don't think I'm going to be paying the Echo cost on this, but if any creatures do die, then we do have the Vault held up. Try and look at more cards. The Verbose Host back into play again. The component power enters. Our opponent rolled a 13, so 2 counters put onto that. You can remove a counter from it to add 2 mana of different colours, kind of like a new Coalition Relic. The Greed going to continue to draw cards. So 10 cards in hand, down to 21 life. Rise of the Dark Realms is going to enter play, so They'll take our Esper Sentinel, the Gleaming Overseer, Kiora, Goreclaw, the Poliwag. And the blue player had an offer you can't refuse anyway, so we're getting rid of the interaction slowly but surely. The black player, he's got a lot of cards in hand, but just used near enough all of his mana. He's got the treasures now, and he is whittling his life total down. Okay, decided to... he just used his treasure mana and then passed priority. Oh no, he didn't. He's still in the main phase. Yeah, okay. Well, that was looking like the most commanding player at the table. Not sure why he's quit. So, that's yet another player. It's every single game gets a block. So, the echo cost on Karmic Guide. Do we just pay it here? Our commander's currently 2, 4 and 6. We'd need another mana to pay for its ability, and plus we'd need to discard something anyway. So maybe it's worth just getting down the commander this turn. Let's say no to the guide. Alright, well, I'm glad I did it now. And Eleshnorn. So let's go Greaves onto Massacre Worm. We could bounce our creature back to our hand if we wanted to with Dissipation Field. Kind of want to deal with the blue player before he starts getting his double spells off, or double card draw. No, I'll turn in to the right and deal 6 damage there. Might have to rely on Cyclonic Rift to get rid of things like this, but we'll have to be careful that he's not as likely to have counter magic for us. So we'll get out the Hashaton. Greaves onto Hashaton again, and once again, just holding up Swords to Plowshares. Have to start being wary of this as well. If you can draw enough cards into it, you could throw a blocker in the way. Emrakul's Messenger. When you draw your second card each turn, make an Eldrazi spawn, and it's an evasive creature as well. He's built it similarly to how I started to build the variants of this. I'm not sure how popular this is going to be, so I'm not sure if I'll play it. But you can't deal damage to get up to speed 4 at the moment. Noteworthy, there are ping lands that you can run that will count as dealing damage to get the speed up, but obviously our opponent needs to draw into those. So if he's struggling, it might be worth just getting Swords to Plowshares onto the Emrakul. There is a Castle Ventress for Scry 2, which he can go for at the end of the turn, so I'd be less tempted to go for Swords onto this. I'd rather force him to replay his commander. In fact, we can get rid of this with Eleshnorn. So hopefully the Teamer player gets out a creature that we can point Bitter Triumph at in order to discard, because we're not getting into many means of discarding stuff here, really. A Primordial Hydra, don't mind pointing my Destruction Magic at that. Alright, so we'll go Swords onto the commander at the end of this turn before we start our own turn. We've got no cards in hand, so we know they can't counter it. Should still be pretty easy for them to get their commander out though, so as long as we can keep them off speed 4, and they don't have any means of card draw at the moment, they'll be able to get back to it pretty quickly, but they'll have to take a turn off for their commander. They'll have to pretty much take a turn off to get into the card draw with the Castle Ventress, so pretty much just trying our damnedest to slow them down. A Ledger Shredder should help us with the discard and having a decent sized body in play as well. I think I'll just go for a Sorcery Speed Eleshnorn here because, yeah, we want to be buffing our creatures and dealing some more damage. Maybe we could get Hashaton out of play so that it doesn't get wrapped up in a board wipe. So it's Bitter Triumph, we're going to discard a card, we'll get rid of the Hydra, and Eleshnorn is the card we're discarding. Say yes. When it enters, it will make the Massacre Worm an 8/7 and get rid of this to keep them off the speed, like we said. Lose 2 more life. Obviously blow up the Hydra as well. So we could get them down by about 1/3 of their life here. Maybe Massacre Worm being in the hand ready for Spymaster's Vault wouldn't be the worst. Let's try ourselves a Ledger Shredder as well. Don't think we're going to see too many double spells, but it's at least a 3/5 in the air. Now going for the Scry with the Ventress. He's got more idea of what he wants to go after at least. Okay, the Teamer player decides to jack it in as well. Well, that changes things. I mean, I wouldn't have gone for the Ledger Shredder if I'd known the Teamer player was going to scoop. I would have maybe gone for bouncing this. Then they've got to choose between playing this or their commander, I assume. I haven't worked that out mana-wise. Maybe they could do both. I think oh, okay. And our opponent scoops. I don't know why he's worried about us attacking him when he's got Dissipation Field available to him. Scribe both the cards onto the bottom that you obviously didn't like, and then draw and see what you're drawing into. Yeah, I was going to swing in there, not that our opponent will ever know now. 11 damage, bounce both of our creatures back to our hand. And then maybe we just focus on hard-casting Massacre Worm, which might take out the dorks that he's reliant on to get the speed up. So maybe we would have got him eventually, thanks to that Lightning Greaves. But it was many turns away, so yeah, giving up too soon as usual. Had a few viewers complaining in the last game about Hashaton, how it doesn't show off the power of Hashaton, and well, you see why I upload the games I upload. These are the best of a bad bunch, I'm afraid, and there's nothing I can do about it. We got to see some odd bits here and there with Hashaton, but we were losing cards pretty rapidly, so I think if they'd ganged up on us, they could definitely have got around us there eventually. It was the blue players to get back into. But I asked for bracket 4 games, and that's what I got, so hopefully you all got some enjoyment from it regardless. I'll play Hashaton again, because I imagine it's going to continue to be quite popular, and maybe we'll get an actual high-powered game in which we can see the commander in action, and we get to keep cards in hand as well. Massive thank you to the patrons for their unrelenting support as well. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.